The Fox 10 Gulf Stream. This is Next Weather.
All right, here's what we're tracking across the Gulf Coast here as we take a deeper dive in your forecast here on Next Weather. Thanks for catching us here on Next Weather, and this is what we're seeing. And so today we topped out into the upper 90s in Pensacola and Pascagoula. Some spots a little less with the heat today because we had some clouds, a little bit of rain moving through, not a lot, but that helped some. The heat wave is going to keep rolling on through next week, and so the heat index at 108 tomorrow, and then it gets crazy high here as we finish out the week. It looks like Thursday through Sunday up above 110 with the heat index, and this is what's causing it. So the ridge is getting suppressed a little to the south, but it's going to rebuild as we head into Friday and Saturday over Texas, and it's going to be sitting exactly where it has been for about the last week to 10 days, and that puts us fair game for more hot temperatures and mugginess going on. We don't see much rainfall tomorrow. The other thing about having a ridge around is it makes the atmosphere a little more stable. It's close enough to us that our rain chance is going to be pretty isolated tomorrow. Right now, rain chance is about 20%. At the beach, we are starting to introduce a higher risk of rip currents. We still have a high UV index. It's almost too hot to be at the beach, but it's that southwest wind that's cranking up the rip current risk to a medium risk. Water temperatures at 86, and we're also getting reports of jellyfish, which is really common in August, so watch out for that. A medium risk of rip currents continues as we head into Thursday and Friday with surf heights running around 2 to 3 feet. Water temperatures are toasty. We don't see anything going in the tropics. There's still some dry air out over the Atlantic, and that is limiting tropical activity for now, but the season is likely about to kick into high gear. We're right here at the beginning of August, which is, not a real super active time of the year, but once we get into the middle and the end of the month, it really gets more active, and September is our biggest month for tropical activity. Mid-October can be even more active than it is right now, so the bulk of the season is ahead of us there. Temperatures for lows, not really that low. We're down to about 80 tonight, and then tomorrow getting up into the middle 90s. So toasty there, and it just continues from here as we get into Thursday and Friday. Temperatures ramp back up into the upper 90s. We may see occasional close to record or tied record temperatures, or even some broken records. Rain chances are running at about 20% every day through Friday, and then they pick up a little. Looks like a little bit more scattered activity for the weekend, with highs continuing in the upper 90s even into early next week. This heat wave is here to stay. Drink a lot of water and take some breaks. Coming up on Fox 10 News, meteorologist Michael White will talk about the heat, and also an important thing. Meteorologist Matt Barentine breaks down how lightning forms and lightning safety.
Can I play? Sure, but you need to bring your own truck. That's not a problem.
The Fox 10 Storm Tracker Fleet, taking you live to more places, covering the Gulf Coast like no one else can. Unrivaled experience, unparalleled severe weather coverage.
I think I need a bigger sandbox.
Well, even though we've seen a couple of spotty storms around the area today, it was still oppressively hot. Meteorologist Michael White has a deeper look at some new model data. Michael?
Hey guys, thanks a lot. Yeah, I'm broadcasting from the house, and there is nothing worse than starting school in a heat wave, and that is what we have seen for all the students so far, and it's going to continue that way for those of you in Baldwin County tomorrow that are going back to school. And as we continue over the next several days, it looks like it's just going to be hot, muggy. Chances of rain are going to be on the board, but they're not going to be overwhelming. And we could really use an early dash of fall air. But as you'll see on the weather maps, it's going to be very hard to come by. So first we'll start with the QPF, the quantitative precipitation forecast. This is a general outlook on what the rainfall totals are going to be for the next 7 days. This takes us all the way through next Monday evening. And you can see much higher chances for rain and storms are going to be located in North Alabama, eastern Alabama, right around Auburn and Dothan, but you look in the southwest pocket where the Gulf Coast is, about 1/2 inch to 1 inch. Now that's average. Some of you could see more of that, some of you less than that, but clearly the overwhelming rain totals are going to be away from our area, and this does take us through Monday evenings. So that means for the next several days, rain is going to be not really widespread across the Gulf Coast, and you'll also notice the farther west you travel, the less rain there's going to be as you head toward Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas. We'll go to the weather maps. This is the surface map, and this was the surface map for Monday, and you'll notice that the front is stalled out over North Alabama, North Mississippi, right around the I-20 corridor. Now, rain and storms fire off ahead of that, but as we show you the surface map from today, and notice there's a big H in the Gulf waters. That's the high pressure center that's keeping us hot and muggy and blocking that front from coming through, because this is the surface map from today. Notice the front dragged a little farther south. That brought us a little higher chance of rain, but it's still not coming through all the way to knock the heat and humidity down. And then this is the surface map for tomorrow. The boundary just straight up stalled around parts of Interstate 10, and that high just still sits in the Gulf waters. That's going to keep the air muggy. Our morning temperatures will stay in the upper 70s and low 80s. High temperatures are going to be in the upper 90s. Heat index values around 110. And although it is difficult for fronts to move through in August anyway, the fact that it's just sitting there just is really kind of a big tease. That means we're not going to get any sort of drop in temperature, and most of the rain and storm chances are going to be closer to the front, so closer to the I-20 corridor. And then you look at the long-range temperature guidance, and you can see it's just still going to be very hot, very humid, very muggy from tomorrow all the way through a good chunk of the month. This takes us all the way through Tuesday the 22nd. Now, these numbers aren't exactly what we would go with in our forecast. This is just raw model guidance off the GFS ensemble, but you can see the general trend. Humid mornings in the mid to upper 70s, hot afternoons in the 90s with triple-digit heat index values, and of course with the temperatures staying hot, that's no real big indication that major rain chances are going to be on the way, because whenever we get a big shot for rain and storms in the summer, typically we would see the afternoon high get at least back into the 80s. So the pattern is not favoring us for getting any sort of relief. This could end up being a very brutal August across the Gulf Coast. So we just have to expect high water bills when we try to water our lawn, and high electric bills as we keep that AC blowing full blast. But we all know the fall air is going to show up sooner or later. We just got to stay optimistic. I'll have more continued weather updates on Good Day Gulf Coast starting first thing tomorrow. I hope to see you there. And of course, the rest of the Mets are going to be talking a lot more about it right here on Next Weather. I'm meteorologist Michael White. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. Guys, I'll send it back to you.
Yeah, that long-range model situation looks like through at least Monday with the heat wave and still above average as we get into the middle of the week next week. May see some relief. The other thing that we'll see a little more of by the weekend would be thunderstorms, and we're expecting those in this season, and we're going to see gusty winds, rain, and most definitely lightning. Meteorologist Matt Barentine breaks down how lightning forms in the first place.
Lightning can be dangerous, destructive, and spectacular all at the same time. So let's really break down what lightning is. First off, this is when electrons, negative here in the cloud, positive down at the ground, they start zigzagging downward here from the cloud, known as a stepped leader. And then as that leader gets closer to the ground, the positive charges are drawn upwards. As the leader and the streamer merge, those powerful electrical current flows from the top down to the bottom, and then you get your lightning strike. The return stroke is what we see, and it travels at 60,000 miles per second. This process may repeat several times along the same path, causing that flicker that we see with lightning. Let's talk about what kinds of lightning strikes there are, and there are several kinds. Of course, the most common is the old cloud to ground, but there can be from the ground to the cloud, from cloud to the sky, inside the cloud, and then the positive stroke. Most lightning strikes, 95%, are negative. Positive ones, though, are uncommon, but they're very powerful, like 5 times stronger. Those are the ones that are usually called the bolts out of the blue that can do a lot of damage and can be lethal. Now, 40 million lightning strikes occur in the U.S. every year that actually get down to the ground. The odds of being struck are less than 1 in a million, still better odds than winning the lottery. 90% of victims survive and 28 per year die in the U.S. So here's some of those lightning statistics, things to think about when that next storm rolls on through. In Mobile, Matt Barentine, Fox 10 News.
Well, in the forecast, we'll take a look at the 7-day outlook and your 10-day forecast coming up.
New to the Fox 10 weather app, your 24-hour radar forecast. Be the first to see how precipitation is going to affect your plants across the Gulf Coast. Detailed hour by hour. The 24-hour radar forecast on the Fox 10 weather app. Plus the latest breaking news with the Fox 10 News app.
Got him both.
Stay alert with Fox 10. Prime time is Fox 10 time.
The latest on the night's top stories are first on Fox 10 News at 9.
Wrap up your day, informed and ready for the morning.
All right, here's that 7-day forecast first, and then we'll go out 10 days. And what we're noticing here is that we may get a little lull in the extreme heat tomorrow, mid-90s, and then upper 90s coming back with a heat index above 110 through at least Sunday. That may continue into Monday. The long-range upper air pattern does show a little dip in the jet stream next week, which might get us back into the mid to lower 90s gradually as we go through the week. We're going to see isolated rain chances through the end of the week, but scattered chances kick in over the weekend and will continue to hang around from time to time. So the forecast looking hot and humid, and look at the overnight lows in the 70s, upper 70s to near 80 degrees. Tough weather for the Gulf Coast.